This is Garrett Walters, Director of Brand Experience, Floor Coverings International, and I'm going to tell you today a little bit about inspection videos. We're going to talk about why should we shoot inspection videos, how to shoot the inspection video, and some best practices around this part of the inspired sale. So the first thing we're going to talk about is why. The inspection video really serves primarily its purpose is to move a customer from a want purchase to a need. When customers are buying flooring, the majority of those customers, it's not a necessary purchase, it's something they'd like to do. It's an upgrade for their home, they maybe don't like the style, they may make an investment to increase the overall value of their home. But largely, when a person goes to replace their floors, the floor is still functional. Unless somebody's had like a flood or we have some holes or some delamination or something in the carpet, largely that flooring purchase is a want, not a need. So what the inspection video does is essentially what we're trying to do is talk about why. Why should the customer get this job done? And then also why now? Really kind of giving them the urgency that, hey, this needs to get done before this causes further issues. Secondarily, the actual purpose of an inspection video can demonstrate your expertise. So essentially showing that you are an expert and that you can, and essentially what it will eventually do is enhance your trust. If you come in, do a great job diagnosing the issue, talking about what's there, and then we do a really great job in 4, 5, and 6 in order to talk about how we will solve that issue, it creates a lot of trust, but it really starts with the inspection video. So if we're thinking about why, the inspection video is one of our real only points where we can create a lot of urgency, talking about either why this needs to get done, or why now, versus waiting maybe 2 or 3 years while the customer is able to maybe put some money aside, or they think of this as something that's not necessary and they can push off for 2 or 3 years. Now that we're sort of bought in, we understand the reason why we shoot the inspection video, we want to talk about how do we create it. In its most basic form, the inspection video has 4 components. We have an introduction. We then address an issue that we would consider small. We then have our large issue, and then we have our recommendation. So in our introduction, it should be done the same every single time. This is going to allow you to kind of get in that mode when you get in the house. If you have the same introduction, it's going to help you start framing this and have the same language over and over and over again. You're going to find that if you have the same introduction, it's going to be easier the more you do of these to create a really effective inspection video. The second is when we talk about a small issue, what we're talking about is potentially something that we found in the customer space, but not something that they've highlighted themselves. Really, if we ask those questions in step 2, what is it about your current floor that makes you want to replace it? Typically, a small issue is something maybe they mentioned in passing, or it's something that they maybe not have mentioned at all. We're going to then highlight something that we've discovered in that space, and by doing one of 3 things. We're going to talk about what we see. We're then going to talk about the actual cause of that issue, and then we're going to talk about what happens if we leave that issue. We're then going to transition into our conversation about the large issue, and this is the customer's pain point. When we ask in step 2, that question, what is it about your current floors that make you want to replace it? That's our large issue. So we're going to actually end the video in terms of talking about our issues. We're going to end our issues or that conversation with our large issue, the thing that the customer identified as their pain point. And we're doing it the exact same way that we talked about the small issue. We're going to talk about what we see, what's the cause of that problem, and what happens if we leave it. We're finally going to end with a recommendation. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to summarize the 2 issues, highlighting what happens if we leave the issue. So we're going to talk about my recommendation is that we take care of X, but more importantly, X, in order to make sure that we don't have ongoing issues or whatever it happens to be. But the recommendation is a summary of the 2 issues, focusing primarily on what happens if we leave the issue. In terms of best practices around our inspection videos, first and foremost, this should feel like a diagnosis and not a possible solution. The feel or vibe of this video should be, homeowner, you have a problem. Regardless of who does it, this needs to get solved right away. I'm going to tell you in step 4, 5, and 6 why I think I'm the right solution for you, and we have a lot of stuff built into our sort of those 3 steps in order to talk about why we think we're the right person to solve the problem. But the inspection video itself shouldn't have that sort of, hey, we're going to be doing this type of solution. It should almost feel like, customer, regardless of who does this, this needs to get done and needs to get done right now. Second thing would be this video should be only about 1.5 minutes max, but ideally in that sort of minute. If you're succinct, you know, and you plan the video ahead of time, the video shouldn't go long. Really, the intention is that a customer, we know that we're asking them, and you know, they have something up here and stuff. Like the reason why we call them out, you know, that are called us out. They want to see the flooring, and we also have our company story. We have our installation video, and we have some step 6 slides before that customer even gets to take a look at the flooring. So their attention span is going to be smaller because they know that there's something else coming up. They know that they're going to be looking at some samples. So we want to make sure we have a high impact video, but not something that needs to be drawn out. Also, we know that customers' attention span for media is at its highest in that 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. If it goes longer, we know that the customer's attention span starts to dip, even if it is a really compelling video. Third would be zoom into issues you're highlighting. So again, using the actual the tablet to move it towards the issues, to bring it and enlarge it in the screen, making this appear like it's a large issue, right? Doing some of the basics around the camera work is going to help enhance and show the customer these are issues that need to be addressed. We're going to then talk about shooting in landscape format. So rather than holding your tablet upright, which I see a lot of people do, we want to hold it sideways. So when we actually then show the customer the video, it fills the entire screen. If you shoot it like this, you're not going to be able to you're going to have some black bars on the side. So let's make sure we shoot it in the landscape format. And then finally, as you become more of an expert at shooting and inspection videos, you're going to find that you're going to start accumulating tools. The one thing I would say is if you're going to talk about an issue, use a tool to highlight it. So even if it's something as simple as a pointer, a ruler, a measuring tape, something that can give that sort of a bit more visual impact, it's going to enhance the overall quality of the video, and it's going to seem like you know what you're talking about, creating more of an expertise with that video. So that's it on inspection videos, a quick blurb. So we talked about why, how, and best practices, and look for some future videos on some actual examples of what an effective, if not basic, inspection video looks like.